Hi, everybody. One of the points that have been attacked to denigrate African traditional religion is the one pejoratively described as ancestor worship. Far from being a simple belief, this notion of intercession of ancestors is based on scientific principles that we intend to highlight in this lecture.
Welcome to the channel Zilalowa of Dr. Yaluka. To begin, please subscribe and tick the notification bell in order not to miss our videos. Thank you for joining.
The theme of our lecture is the scientific basis of the intercession of ancestors. But before tackling this theme, let me first remind you our introductory course series on Book Congo, a course series that will start on 20 April. The checkout link is available in the description. This said, we will start our lecture with the usual introductions. That is the presentation of the speaker that I am and his academy, Dilalowa. We will then establish scientifically, thanks to the Kemetic cosmological argument, a systematic natural theology, the notion of the transcendence of the Most High, of the hierarchy of divinities, and of solar trinity, which are at the basis of the intercession of the ancestors. Because the Kemetic cosmological argument constitutes nowadays the strong point and the particularity of the African traditional religion as an exact science. Finally, the development of our theme will follow. I'm Dr. Katizolo Banzajo Yaruka. I hold a PhD honor from Trinity Graduate School of Apologetics and Theology of Kerala, India. I'm an apologist, and as a researcher, I created Nzilalowa. Nzilalowa, which is a modern academy of African traditional spirituality. Nzilalowa, my academy comprises two branches. An academic branch called Institut des Sciences Animiques, and within the frame of this institute, I conduct researches. I publish 32 scientific papers and 16 books that are available at Amazon.com. So aside from the Institut des Sciences Animiques, which is the academic branch, Nzilalwa comprises also an initiatory branch, which is called also Nzilalowa. This branch introduces the Black people to the divine practice of the religion bequeathed by their ancestors. I say divine practice because there are two kind of practices of African traditional spirituality. The divine practice, which is the practice of a minority found among the Bantu people and especially the Congo people. And we have the human practice, which is the practice of the majority of people. What when you look at our spiritual landscape in the motherland or in the diaspora, nearly all you see is the human practice of African traditional religion. So those are two different practices, and our academy deals with the divine practice. The aim of the divine practice is to enable you and me to become a child of the Most High in a manifest way. And this, so the purification of thought and the succor of holy ancestors. Because I mentioned ancient Egypt, let me tell you that we are a Kemetic movement, but we are different from the traditional Kemetic movement, which we call traditional Kemetism. Traditional Kemetism started in the United States during the year 1970s. It is an eclectic movement that tries to reconstruct the religion of ancient Egypt by using speculation and induction in the reading of the hieroglyph. It is an anti-biblical movement, and like all the religions of the world, it is a religion belief. Neo-Kemetism, our movement, started in 2008. It started with the discovery of the Kemetic cosmological argument, and it uses a comparative approach to establish the congruence between the Kemetic cosmological argument, which is a natural systematic theology, and the religion of ancient Egypt, Sumer, and Congo, the book Congo. As such, the Kemetic cosmological argument being an exact science, the religions that are congruent with it, that is, African traditional religion in its original trend, is also an exact science. Because we can use comparative study to establish what is solar religion, that is the religion of ancient Egypt and the Congo, we are not an anti-biblical movement. Inasmuch as Simon Kimbangu said that the divine principles that are in the Bible were stolen from our ancestors. As I told you, the theme of our lecture is the scientific basis of the intercession of ancestors. The intercession of our ancestor is a scientific notion based on three principles. First, the transcendence of the Most High. Secondly, the hierarchy of deities and solar trinity. Those three principles define, explain why prayer should not be directly addressed to the Most High, rather to the nearest ancestors. These three principles can be established thanks to the Kemetic cosmological argument as follows. So let me first start by establishing the Kemetic, or by announcing the Kemetic cosmological argument, by stating the Kemetic cosmological argument. I'm an individual being. Each of you is an individual being. Therefore, this temporal universe in which we abide is an individual entity, because it is an aggregate of individualities. That, according to the law of causality, it must have also an individuality. The individual nature of this temporal universe implies that it is the effect of an individual cause. The law of causality states that to an effect must correspond an adequate and anterior cause. So if we have an individual effect, the adequate cause must be also an individual creator. But the individual nature of the creator of this temporal universe begs the existence of other similar creators. They might have not yet created their universes, respective universes, but they exist. Therefore, we have potential and effective creators. Here, let me introduce an hypothesis just for the sake of brevity, and I will prove the validity of this hypothesis later. The hypothesis is that every creation exists in its creator. Because every creation abides in its creator, if we consider an entity which includes all the above deduced potential and effective creators, we have an entity which is the greatest possible being. Because any creation you can imagine will be in its creator, and the creator must be in this entity. Therefore, this entity is the greatest possible being, and has the greatest possible being, which is the Most High, the Supreme Being. Thus, it ensures that has the greatest possible being, the Supreme Being must be immutable and indivisible. If he were not, then there must be a principle of his mutability and divisibility. And according to the law of causality, such a principle must be greater than the Most High, which means greater than the greatest possible being, which is impossible. Therefore, the Most High is absolutely immutable and indivisible. Third attribute, the Most High is transcendent. By the transcendence of the Most High, we don't only say that He is above everything. We say that He doesn't know evil. Did the Most High know evil? Within the frame of His absolute indivisibility, we know that for Him or for her to know and to be are one and the same thing. What He knows is what He is. So did the Most High know evil, he will be infinitely good and infinitely bad, which is also an aberration. Therefore, the Most High is transcendent. And by transcendence, we mean that he doesn't know evil. The Kemetic cosmological argument teaches us also that since every creator manifests an individuality which is included in the Most High, whereas the Most High is absolutely indivisible, every creator expresses the fullness of the Most High, but in an individual manner. This fullness of the Most High is what we call the Logos. So we have three kind of celestial entities: the Most High, the Creator, and the Logos. The next point is solar trinity. Solar trinity derives from the fact that the Most High is indivisible and he includes the Creator and the Logos. Therefore, the Most High, the Creator, and the Logos are inseparable in their existence, their substance, and their activity. The last point can be illustrated by you standing in front of a mirror. You have three elements: yourself, the power of the reflection of the mirror, and your image in the mirror. If you move, your image moves. In fact, it is you moving in your image thanks to the power of the reflection of the mirror. Whatever your image does, it is you doing it in him. It thanks to the power of the reflection of the mirror. Now we can define the logos as the power of the reflection of the divine nature. So that whatever the creator does, it is the most high who does it in him, thanks to the logos. Now let me add the last point for the Kemetic cosmological argument. It is a question. The question is this one: where where our temporal universe exists in relation to the Most High. Does it exist within the Most High or outside the Most High? It cannot be within the Most High, because if it were, at the moment of creation, something new will appear in the Most High, and the Most High will change. However, we have seen that the Most High is absolutely immutable. It cannot also be outside of the Most High, because if it were, then added to the Most High, it will result in an entity greater than the Most High, which is also impossible. So, if it were within, the Most High will change, and that change will require a principle of the mutability of the Most High, which principle must be greater than the Most High. And if it were outside, added to the Most High, it will result in an entity greater than the Most High. So in both cases, it doesn't work. So what is the outcome? The outcome is like this. I am in the studio of Mr. X. And if I tell you Mr. X has a car, but his car is neither in the studio nor outside of the studio, the answer is very simple. His car is in his mind. So the creator who is in the Most High has a creation, but his creation is neither in the Most High nor outside of the Most High. The natural conclusion is that the creation is in the temporal consciousness of the creator, which implies, which first of all proves the validity of our hypothesis, and it implies also that reality is spiritual, and the temporal universe is only a limited perception of this reality. Reality is the invisible. The visible is only a limited perception of reality. This argument can be extended to include all the essential doctrines of solar religion. Therefore, being a set of coherent deductive truths, the Kemetic cosmological argument is an exact science. Thus, Kemetic, Kemetic religion and Bukongo being congruent with the Kemetic cosmological argument, they are also exact sciences. From the Kemetic cosmological argument, we have learned that the Most High is transcendence, and this transcendence implies that he neither knows nor sees evil. So prayers Our grievance regarding our suffering and difficulties cannot be addressed directly to Him. This principle of devotion has always characterized the practice of African traditional religion since ancient Egypt, where the highest divinity to whom prayers were directly addressed is the Creator. The same principle is applied in African traditional religion. For example, if you take the Haitian Vodou, the highest divinity is called Bon Dieu. However, prayers are never addressed directly to Bon Dieu, but to lower divinities. Likewise, in Bukongo, the Most High is Zambi Ampungu Tulendo. He is never addressed directly in prayer by import Congo initiates. Furthermore, in accordance with the transcendence of the Most High, the higher a divinity is, the closer he approaches the divine transcendence and the less he is with, within the reach of our prayer. The second principle that underlies the intercession of the ancestor is the hierarchy of divinities. The Kemetic cosmological argument shows that the eternal celestial order includes in the hierarchical order the Most High, the highest entity of the highest divinity. Then come the Creator and His peer, and then come the Logos or the manifestation of the fullness of the Most High in each creator. The fact that everything in the temporal order is only the limited manifestation of its reality on the eternal celestial plane implies that the deity closest to us are our divinized ancestor. As developed by the Kemetic cosmological argument, the third principle that underlies the practice of the intercession in African traditional religion is solar unity. Considering the hierarchy of divinities, solar trinity implies that a higher divinity always acts through the lower divinity thanks to the activity of the Logos in this later. We know, thanks to the Kemetic cosmological argument, that the manifestation of the Logos on the temporal plane is porous. On in while the theology of Memphis, it is porous or Kimalungila in Bukongo. Porous or Kimalungila is therefore the manifestation of the fullness of the Most High in divinity and in humans on the temporal plane. Solar Trinity implies that the higher deities act through those who are closest to us. That is, the highest ancestors act for us through the ancestors that are the closest to us. However, it must be first clarified that apart from the demonic ancestors called Matebo in Congo, who are not part of the normal practice of devotion in the African traditional religion, the ancestor Bakuru are counted at two levels. First of all, the divine level, where they are called Bakulu Bamaza, or the ancestor who inhabit a world whose holiness is symbolized by water, pemba. And secondly, on the human level, we have the Makuluban Teke, ancestor with experience of the human practice of African traditional spirituality acquired in their life while they were here or in the hereafter. At the divine level, we speak of the Makuluban Maza. These are therefore the holy ancestor, like attractive like the holy ancestor only approach us to the extent of our purity, which establishes the capital notion of the purification of thought in the divine practice of spirituality bequeathed to us by the ancestor. At the human level, we are talking about the Makulu Banteke. The Nteke is the dry land in opposition to the water as the holy abode of ancestors. These are therefore the ancestors who, according to the hierarchy of divinity, have control over the spirits of nature, the Visipi, plural of Vivi. If the intercession of the holy ancestors require of us to approach them to the purification of our thoughts, the intercession of the Bakul Bamteke only requires respect of the contextual ethics and all the ritual attached to the human practice. This nature of human practice and the fact that it is the practice of the majority of the black people gives some people the false impression that the commandments of Nzambi, the commandments of God, does not exist in African traditional religion, which is wrong. Rather, the fact proves that as the guarantor of the high morality of Black African society, divine practice is based on strict respect of the commandments of Nzambi. In conclusion, far from being a doctrine based on simple beliefs, the intercession of ancestors is a practice based on fact scientifically demonstrable thanks to the Kemetic cosmological argument, which facts are the transcendence of the Most High, the hierarchy of divinity, and solar trinity. True African initiates do not pray to the ancestor, but they pray to the Most High God through the ancestor closest to them. Please don't forget our online course series on Butongo starting on this 20 April. The checkout link is in the description. Thank you for joining.
If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share. More on this subject can be found on my books available at Amazon.